As you guys know, recently there was a tournament held in Chinatown, and to say that the execution was botched, I mean, it kind of was. But before we get into all of that, first of all, how's everybody doing? It's been quite a while. I mean, we're on the tail end of this Corona thing. I think we just gotta hold on just a little longer, and we'll be okay. So make sure everybody's doing okay out there. But yeah, so how's everybody doing? I hope you guys have been holding up okay during the pandemic. Uh, I do miss seeing a lot of you at tournaments too, like locals, and just being able to meet up. But we're at the tail end of this Corona thing, so we just gotta hold out a little bit longer, guys. So to the point that everybody's been here, there was a tournament called Night in Chinatown, and yo, what up, Chris? Jimmy. So, and I'm not gonna be saying any of these people's names. I mean, I'm sure you guys know who these people are already. I'm gonna just, but long story short, there was a tournament held in Chinatown, and there were a lot of concerns that a lot of members of the community had going into the tournament. Things like the 10-person limit to having 10 people indoors. That was something that was expressed early. The location was obviously a concern for certain members, especially since we know that the majority of the active people who are playing right now are younger. Chinatown is, not, it's kind of notoriously known for not being a very safe place. So those were some concerns. But after seeing the venue, I saw pictures of the venue, and it looked pretty safe. So I kind of held my reservations a little bit, and I was like, okay, maybe it'll be okay. Things might work out fine. Then the tournament came around, and certain people who were there communicated to me that there was a lot of miscommunications going around. The business manager did not expect that many people, so that was already a red flag to me. It's always important that if you ever plan on having anything, you need to be upfront with businesses, because any kind of things like that reflects back on the community. And if you lie to get a venue, they're not gonna connect that necessarily to the person who did it. Or if you a little dishonest in ways to get the venue, they're not gonna connect it to the person who did it. They're gonna connect it to the community that did it to them. And it takes away a lot of opportunities in the future for if we want to have something at certain places. Then I heard through word of mouth, why it's only so small, that the 8-person playing in the room plus the 2 TOs did not happen. They just let everybody stay in there. And even though not a few days later we moved to tier 5, in my opinion it still doesn't matter. It's kind of like no harm, no foul, but a lot of things could have gotten wrong. If somebody had reported that to the cops, people there would have got in trouble, the building manager would have got fined, and it's just not a good experience all around. I mean, if you're gonna have rules, you have to make sure that you uphold the rules. It's especially when it comes to protecting the community, which is what it's really all about, right? The only thing that especially the TOs here really care about is giving a good experience to players and protecting them when they're there. It's never been about the money for none of the TOs here. It was just like a thing. It was just, they knew what the law was. They said they were going to implement a rule, and the rule was not implemented, and it was just dangerous. Now that we're in tier 20, now that we're in tier 5, I'm assuming things will be a little easier. By August, they're looking to be done with the tier system and fully open up anyway. So I would encourage, whatever tournament organizers are out there. I know some of you are thinking of doing tournaments, guys like Triforce, and, the LTW boys. I would highly recommend waiting until August and just seeing how that plays out. I mean, we waited this long, we can wait another month. Okay, and then I heard about what happened with the money. From the very beginning, this was something that was very poorly communicated by the person holding the event. He had said something regarding donations instead of like an actual house fee, which already was like, again, another red flag. And even giving the benefit of the doubt, that just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to word it that way. If in most cases that in tournaments that I've ever gone to, you have a house fee if the venue was rented, because the TO needs to be able to pay the house fee some way. And so in order to do that, you would charge a house fee. To play in the tournament is a whole nother different thing. You would usually do like a tournament entry fee, or a pot fee. And usually it depends on the venue, because some venues are more expensive, and some pots could be bigger too. But the way that it was communicated towards the end was they said venue fee. So a lot of the players didn't even know there was a pot. So when time for payout came around, people were confused. So a member of the community had asked in the Discord, what's going on with payout? How was that handled? And the person running the event completely tried to pass the blame onto somebody else, which again is another huge thing. Like, I could understand, like I said, I'm giving this person the benefit of the doubt all the way. Mistakes happen. This was his first event of this size, I would assume. And a lot of things can go wrong. We always expect the worst to happen. And a lot of this could have just came back to taking responsibility, in my opinion. If Patty had just taken responsibility of it, I don't think a lot of people would be looking at him the way that it is. Yeah, so long story short, the money was somehow misplaced or stolen, or it's missing. I still haven't really got confirmation on that. And the top 3 did not get paid out as of right now. He's trying to pay them out now, but again, like, we don't even know how the calculation is supposed to be, because all he said was $5 venue fee. There was no communication. It's half for the pot, it's half for the venue. We don't know. And it's a little hard to like keep trying to give this person the benefit of the doubt when there are so many things that are just stacking up against them, So that happened. And if there's one thing that is really bad, it's when people don't get paid out for tournament, because that's like, it's essentially stealing, right? So you don't want to be branded a thief, right? Especially not in Hawaii. The community is only so small. Everybody heard about this already. But I'm just like summing up the events and my thoughts on it. So basically the night in Chinatown was, I mean, like I said, it wasn't a disaster per se. Oh, and they got kicked out at the end. They couldn't finish the tournament. And even though it was communicated that, oh yeah, they were going to have ample time to finish or whatever. Yes, they started late, and there's other things that could have prevented that, but still, not being able to finish a tournament is kind of, yikes. So basically, to sum up what happened that night in Chinatown, there were some miscommunications between the guy who made the event, and the building manager. There was a miscommunication on payout, because the top 3 didn't get paid out, and there was no clear indication what was pot and what was, venue fee. There was the breaking of the COVID guidelines, and which is, I've been to establishments because, I go to karaoke like pretty often, and first night back I went when they opened again, the owner was telling me how she got fined like $4,000 because the rules weren't clear, and they got busted for having people sit too close to each other inside of the karaoke room. So like, even that is like, somebody could have got seriously fined. So, and then lastly, the fact that he tried to pin the missing money on somebody really rubbed me the wrong way. That was probably what rubbed me the wrong way the most, especially in a community like this. Like, the person who you're trying to pin it on had like no reason to just steal from his own friends like that. The majority of the people that were there were his own friends. Now we get to part 3, the aftermath. Okay, this is everything that happened after Chinatown. In the Discord, a bunch of very concerned members of the community brought all of these things up to his attention. And yes, I will admit that some of us were being a little hostile. I mean, we just watched somebody essentially what looked to us steal from kids in the community, endanger them, and have them break the law. You know. So yes, I admit that maybe we could have tried to be more cordial about it, but the way that he responded was just like a big yikes. He constantly deflected and decided that he was going to go the route of I do not want to take responsibility, and will continue to try to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. When you have somebody blatantly just like ignoring what's going on and trying to just move on and, you know, be silent about it, it's kind of jarring, you know. Like, I've never seen somebody this blatantly like again, this could be like a huge misunderstanding, this could be a misunderstanding of his character, you know, but giving him the benefit of the doubt. But just seeing the way that he responded to some of the members of the community with just an utter lack of like he just did not want to take responsibility for anything that happened. He's not answering questions or ignoring certain parts of our concerns. And yes, one of the actual responses to you guys broke the law was, I don't want to hear criticism from people who are not there because the people there had fun. And that's something I'll talk about later. But yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. And yeah. So following all of this person announces that he's going to be holding a tournament at the Osoyami bar. And if you read the backlog, you know this led to another just can of worms, because he did not have clearance to post that. And once the other TOs, because you know there are multiple TOs from other games, other communities that work at the Osoyami bar. And again, like I said, like, you know, people want to protect their opportunities to have tournaments, because one bad thing can happen at the bar and it'll reflect on everybody. So once they had caught wind about what happened, who this guy was and what he was doing, they blacklisted him. And that is like the nuclear option. And like, I understand that that's what they had to do, but you know, all of this could have been avoided had he just, you know, taken responsibility. You know, the Smash scene is not so unforgiving that we couldn't have just like forgiven him for what he did, as long as he just like took responsibility for it. I would rather believe that he did those things out of ignorance and just incompetence than believe that he did them maliciously and he did it on purpose. But every action after what had happened just leads me to believe more so than not that it was malicious. But you know, so that happened. He's now blacklisted from Osoyami Bar, and he can't hold any events there. So that's a big rip on that part. Sucks this has to happen right when tourneys get back. I hope that doesn't set the community back too far. Like you said, it reflects on the whole community. That is a good point. I think as a community we can, and this is something I'll touch in my last point. So that's pretty much a summary of what happened. So looking towards the future, I think a lot of us can learn from what happened. I understand that there were tons of players really hungry, and mostly speaking to you young guys, you know, you guys are really hungry to play. I understand. You know, we've been locked up. Some of you even joined during the corona, so even more so I know you guys are hungry. You guys are seeing tournaments happen in the mainland. You guys really want to, like, you know, get in the community. I've been part of the Smash community now for like 7-8 years. Ever since like Smash 4, I've been part of this community, and I will tell you that like going to tournaments, you know, watching your friends make a run or making a run yourself, that's probably some of the most fun I ever had. I'm also one of the main commentators for this scene, so you know, commentating sets, being up there with guys like Dark Musician, you know, TP, casting some of these all us other kids just staying home. You know, these are some of the greatest moments I ever had, you know, like hanging out with you guys in tournaments, meeting a lot of the new players, older kids. Yeah. I understand that it's really disheartening seeing other places have tournaments and things, but we're almost over the hill. Like I said, in August, we are going to be ready to be able to hold tournaments, hopefully. I hear whispers of tournaments happening. Guys, you know, some of you guys know, like the LTW guys are trying to put something together, and yeah, I really think that we could all, as a community, learn from what happened. You know, we can take things slow. We don't have to rush back into things. You know, there are still tons of things you guys can do. You guys can meet up with your friend groups. You know, the indoor limit is now 25. You guys can hold your own little things. I know there are so many avenues in which we can slowly get back to doing the things we do. And we don't have to just rush to the first opportunity. While I will say I do appreciate that tournament organizer was trying to have something for the community. It's always more important to do things safely than it is to do things quickly. We don't want to see any kind of crazy situations. Like, as much as we were, you know, reserved, or, you know, we were like, oh yeah, okay, the place looks kind of safe. I mean, I was still worried for like somebody walking back to their car, maybe they get mugged in Chinatown. Like, we have tons of avenues in which we can slowly get back into the swing of things. I know that the main tournament organizers here are already looking. You know, you guys know these guys. You know, Dark Musician, the younger guys. Triforce Blast is trying to look for something. I believe they have something that's going to happen in August. Manoa, yeah, we're going to probably start, you know, looking into avenues of how we can do things at Manoa. But it's just going to take time and patience. And we can definitely grow this back up. I do not think that this will set back the community in any way. The community here is so tight-knit. I mean, I've been going to tournaments for a long time, and, you know, I can genuinely say I can trust most of the people there. I've gone to tournaments and just left my backpack in places, or left my car keys on the table, and then I go back and it's still there, you know? Everything that happened is definitely a one-off, and like I said, maybe this is just a huge misunderstanding. Maybe the guy who made this tournament never meant for any of this stuff to happen. Maybe he just got in over his head and he went into defensive mode, and, you know, he got backed into a corner and just chose all the wrong options. I mean, it happens to us, you know? We're humans. So, you know, I just hope that through all of this we can come together as a community and just make it out on the other side together, so we can start having locals again, start preparing for KCON. I think, me more so than anything, I don't even necessarily like want to compete as much as I want to like interact with the community. So my interactions with you guys over the years have been some of the best interactions I've ever had. Like, I made some of the closest friends at Smash tournaments. I've got to cast some very cool matches. I was one of the main commentators for KCON. I got to do the first half of top 8, and, you know, we're live for like thousands of people, and it was really fun. It was a really great experience. I got to cast with my favorite commentators to cast with, GSM A&D, and, you know, nothing is like a tournament scene. And so we just gotta remember, like, we can make it out of this, you know. This is gonna take time and patience. I think we'll be fine, guys. I think we really will be. I think that this was a series of unfortunate events that may or may not have, you know, been intentional to some degree, but there's no telling now, and there's no point in trying to second guess now, because some decisions have been made that kind of took away the agency from the person who did it. I mean, he's blacklisted from some venues and the like. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be really turned off by what he did, and most likely choose not to go to any events that he runs. And, you know, this could all change. Like I said, I mean, he could honestly, I think that even now, I could still find it in me to, like, seriously give this guy the benefit. If he were to come out now and make a statement and be like, hey man, like, this is really what happened, you know, I was trying so hard to give the community something. Yeah, I may have, you know, stretched the truth a little bit to the venue organizer, and that was my fault. Or, you know, like, the money did really end up going missing, and I just panicked and tried to, you know, because, like, I would understand that, right? Like, because I'm a very understanding person, so I could honestly, like, look past that and be like, hey man, like, as long as, if you were to, like, honestly address it now, I would still probably give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk, guys. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time, but if you would like, it is now time to play Smash. Oh my fucking god, I'm the best, dude. Somebody clipped that shit.